and made really cute stuff, I would not have connected with you.
Really?
Yeah, but don't tell anyone I said that. I love With Wendy.
Me too.
Yeah, she's so relatable. I was swiping through and I was like, where did my finger stop? And it happens to be you.
嗨，大家看标题就知道这一集真的很不一样。今天有特别嘉宾，欢迎 Helen Castillo， 耶！她就是在 Project Runway 里面那位设计师。老实说，我真的不知道我何德何能可以邀请到这一位在线的专业的设计师，愿意花时间跟我们一起聊设计、聊创作，还有他的经验跟他的故事。So let's begin. Thank you again for saying yes. Hi.
Hi. 你好。
I'm sure my audience would love to know more about you. How did you begin the whole shebang in fashion?
Wow. Okay. So starting from the very beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to make it short and
No,
sweet.
you don't have to.
Okay. Then I won't. If you know me, I talk a lot. So let's see. My first sewing class was in 4th grade. And it was what we call an elective course. And we had to use a simple pattern, like a home, I think it was like a butterick pattern for a little swing dress without sleeves. And I ended up sewing it together the last day, which was the day before we'd have our fashion show. And at the time, my parents had a house in New Jersey. They had a tenant that was renting the 1st floor apartment, and we lived on the 2nd floor, and she was a fashion designer. So conveniently, that evening, she helped me fix my dress.
What's her name?
Her name is Tanya. Full circle, my first design job out of college, she hired me.
Oh my gosh, goosebump.
Yeah. So I was doing, and she does activewear design. So when she had hired me, her company was designing for Reebok, and I did the first collection of Reebok activewear for Macy's, Bloomingdale's, and a few other stores.
And that's right after you got out of college.
Yes. So 2012, I graduated. I took 1 year off because when I was studying at FIT, you have to reapply for the bachelor's and I missed the deadline. So I took a year off. I had, I guess, technically my first design job between the years that I was studying, but it was like assistant designer. It was technical design for women's jackets and coats, but it was not that glamorous. I think I made $25,000 salary a year. I'm a little older, but we both look like teenagers, so that's good. But how I got started, I think, the class in 4th grade, it just kind of opened a different avenue for me as an artist. Yeah, because my parents were painters growing up, so I was always surrounded by painting and sculpture. Whoa. And then when I got to high school, I went to a Catholic all-girls school. I had no exposure to the arts at all at this school. So my mother, instead of having me with babysitter, she put me with FIT for pre-college classes. And once I sat at an industrial sewing machine, I just knew that's what I wanted to do forever.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Mom.
Yeah, she's the best, right? But I mean, it was a good investment because then I ended up at that school and graduating from this school, and now I teach at that school.
Talking about full circle.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, I'm not sure, is it before Project Runway or after you had your internship with Vera Wang and Vivienne Westwood in London? I want to know how it served you, how it shaped your career right now.
Okay, so while I was a fashion design major at FIT, during my bachelor's, which is the upper program they consider, you choose a special focus. So I chose special occasion and couture studies.
Oh, okay.
So it was purely bridal and evening gowns. So with that, I think my portfolio felt a bit more elevated because it was focused more on
glamorous luxury.
Glamour and fabric manipulations and fit and construction. So I had applied for an internship at Vivienne Westwood during the summer between my 3rd and 4th year of college. And I got it. And I went there and I lived in London for 3 months. And the European approach to fashion is definitely more about fashion is not for living. Living is for fashion. Choose your career. You're fully dedicated to that, but not in an American approach where it's work, stress, got to make the new thing, got to meet the deadline. It just felt like there was more of a sense of
lifestyle
and community and a sense of self in Europe, where even as an intern on the first day, I was doing patterns for a copying patterns for a jacket for Helena Bonham Carter. And who am I, an American from a fashion school that just shows up on the first day I'm doing this big project. So it just felt a different level of value, where it's about business and getting things done really quickly, and maybe efficiency isn't the most important part because it's more about just how things look, I think. But when I was at Vera Wang, it was very different. We'd all sit at a table, the interns would just show up, and if someone needed something, they'd come and get you. Okay, we need you to do this, we need you to do that. So eventually I got kind of bored with that, and I would go in, put my things down, and I would walk around and ask people if they needed something done. I would always go into the sample room and help the pattern makers. And there's a bridal collection where Vera Wang did all red bridal gowns, and I helped do some of the fabric manipulations on the samples for the runway show.
Ooh.
Cool, yeah.
That's so exciting.
My experience at Vivienne Westwood, it was next level. There were so many opportunities to make friends and make connections. And if you went up to a designer and asked them do you need something, they wouldn't shut you down. They wouldn't tell you don't talk to me, where the New York experience is a bit more about a hierarchy. You're an intern, you don't make eye contact, you don't talk to people, you don't look at people, you're basically told what to do. But it could be different for other people. Maybe those are just the experiences that I had. But you do have to have a thick skin to be in fashion.
Wow, I don't think I can handle that much.
Not many people can't. I definitely have some trauma from my internship and design experiences. But that's fashion, it makes you tougher and a stronger designer. And, you kind of learn a lot about what to do, what not to do, what works, what doesn't, what to say, what not to say.
Will you consider taking interns for yourself?
Yeah. I've had interns in the past. I usually have them during the school year because when I'm teaching, I'm able to kind of recruit from the school that I teach at. And it just feels like more of a learning experience, and I get to know these people better before I hire them to help me at my studio.
And now, talking about having students teaching in FIT, how does that, if it's me, I will probably have to set my mind on it and then shut off to move to the other side to work on my work, my project.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you got the idea from your students who are inspired by something you are working on, and then you bring it to your classroom. How does that fit into your design work as a designer?
It's funny you ask that because I think a big reason why I teach is because my students often inspire me. I give them an idea or concept that's very basic and fundamental, and then they evolve this to a new concept that I would never think of. With meeting new students every semester, it inspires me to be more current with the way that I design because I see the way that they're thinking, which is obviously a younger generation. And I don't necessarily think of Chappell Rowan, I don't think of Sabrina Carpenter as inspiration, but they do, and that's what's now.
Right.
Where, my muses are Kate Blanchett and the old Rihanna and Gwen Stefani. I have
I see Gwen Stefani in you.
Obsessed. You have no idea. Obsessed. And her voice is just next level. She would be probably if I could dress her just once, then I would be happy for ever.
Put it out there. Put it out there. Talk to the universe. Yes.
Right. The internet is very overstimulating. I think this whole instant gratification of swiping and looking through images and just giving it 2 seconds of your brain power and then swiping to the next. Unfortunately, that's not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think it's something that, we just have to take a step back and hopefully soon as a society, everyone's going to kind of put the phone down and start embracing, more real world stuff. But I think it's also an escape from reality because it's a place wow, I can see what Olivia is sewing from start to finish and wearing it in a matter of 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, while I was on Project Runway, Nina Garcia would always say double-edged sword. You're designing something that's really chic, but it's in all black, so we lose all the details. Concepts like this. So I think with Instagram, with TikTok, with Pinterest, all of this, it's a double-edged sword because you're looking at something, you're like, I want to see the end, but at the same time, it almost makes the quality of what you're actually doing feel a bit lower. If you're surrounded by people that want to do the same and have an appreciation for me-made garments and the whole process of learning and creating, then just keep yourself in that circle. Try your best to put the phone down. But I just think that too is like, I'm missing so many things by always being on my phone. But when that's my source of income or one of them, it's really hard not to get so much like time and brain power to it, you know? But what you're doing is amazing. I mean, I genuinely, if I didn't think you were super talented and very detail oriented and made really cute stuff, I would not have connected with you.
Really?
Yeah, but don't tell anyone I said that.
I had it recorded.
Use that. That's good.
So Helen 最近才刚去拍摄她最新的 collection， 她这一系列在日本拍摄 I think from Japan, right?
I don't speak Chinese. I don't speak Chinese.
她最近才刚从日本回来，然后现在手上有2个客户，所以我很好奇她整个制作的过程，她怎么样可以有效率的去安排所有这些。
So basically, I'll design a collection for each spring and fall season. I'll do lookbook, and then I post that online. I usually have private events, so clients can come and view the collection in person, and then they can make orders, they can customize, because my business is solely on customization. I used dead stock fabric from like Mood Fabrics or other fabric sources that are either from design houses, Oscar de la Renta, Marc Jacobs, Carolina Herrera. A lot of those designers are based in New York. So a lot of the fabric stores will purchase extra fabric from sample rooms. And then I've got connections to buy them, which is really nice. So I'll design the collections. My clients will always come and see the pieces, ask for something. Oh, I have this special occasion. I want this for this event. Can we do this with a different shaped neckline? I'll either take measurements or they have measurements taken by a professional and sent to me. Then I do draping. Pattern making, I do a mock-up, usually in like a lesser expensive fabric that's similar to what the final product will be. And I obviously charge them for the fittings, you charge them for the samples. So everything kind of adds up, but that's the process of doing custom. Then it's cut and sewn and sent or delivered to them. And then they wear it for an event and I get the photos afterwards.
Ooh, and then how long does it take to process all of this?
It depends on what the timeline is. I dress a lot of ballerinas for American Ballet Theater and New York City Ballet. And they typically will attend a red carpet event, but they'll only get an invitation like maybe 1 week before.
Whoa.
And I'll get like a big, like 10, 20 orders in like 1 week. Yeah, so being on Project Runway helped a lot with time management because now I can like make something in like 1 day. Sometimes they'll borrow a dress from a collection. So if it's just like too short of a timeline, instead of saying, no, I can't make this, borrow pieces that are already designed and made.
I'm always curious, like what's behind the scenes?
Very, very high end, like musician clients whose stylists will reach out to me and they'll say, oh, so-and-so we're doing a shoot. We're only using red, gold, and green. Do you have any of those colors? Here's the measurements. You know, we're looking for a garment that has this, this, and that. Then I'll make it, send it, and they won't use it. So
does it mean they are not going to pay for it?
No, unless they use it or unless they request it specifically, and then they'll have like a budget, which is usually not very much money. Wow, so like there's the highs and the lows of having a fashion brand, you know. What sparked your inspiration for getting involved with sewing clothing for yourself?
I didn't really think of that until pandemic 2020 when everybody's sewing, when younger generation think this is cool. I started to post videos like mending clothes, hemming the skirts or fix the jeans back in 2018, I think. It was just try out things for me because I have nothing else to do because my visa situation. So I tried a lot of things during that time, but the real confidence boost up right after pandemic, and I feel like I need to push myself to get better in this so I can share more on my YouTube channel.
And you're mostly self-taught?
Yeah, my dad got me my first sewing machine back in 2008 when I graduated from high school.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, so at the time, YouTube was just like a new thing, right? And I kind of Google it, and then there are a lot of creators at the time do a lot of sewing stuff already. We have April, she's also from San Diego. Wendy from Toronto.
I love with Wendy.
Me too.
Yeah.
So
she's just like so relatable and like very like demure, and you know, she's doing it because she loves it, not because it's like does, you know, like influencer stuff. Like she just wants to share.
Very genuine. So those two got me started. And then the TV show, and then pandemic, and I figure out there's more to it with patterning and designing after that. So I tried out Mood, and that's how I know you. So I started to follow more people on social media. And then at first, I thought I would be one of the pattern designer, like having people to test out for my pattern and sell it in Chinese.
Okay.
But later, I don't know. I just think that's not sustainable for me. And for a one-woman show, and also having YouTube to take care of, I just thought maybe there's something else for me to try, you know?
Well, you make really cute stuff for yourself.
Oh, thank you.
And you mentioned earlier that you've done like, you started with doing like alterations on your clothing. So I think upcycling is something that a lot of home sewers start out first. You're already working with like a base, right?
And it's like, you're not going to wear that shirt anymore. Why not just use it for other purpose?
Right.
And that's how I started, because I have so limited resources in so-called material. And the huge gift dropped from heaven from Wag and you, that is just spring in the desert. Thank you.
Don't thank me. I was swiping through and I was like, where did my finger stop? And it happened to be you. This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yes.
And I think that's really hard too, is that there's so many tools that are from like the professional world of fashion designing and pattern making that don't cross over in the same way with home sewers. Something as simple as like a ruler that you can see through, right? And having like the right type of French curve or hip ruler, and how to use it, when to use it, where to blend things. But I think a lot that I've observed from the way that you've learned how to sew is that from making all of these like adjustments to clothing, it feels like you probably understand how clothes are made better now. Because you see like where the dart is and how the dart is made, and like unpicking, resizing.
Not really though.
Okay, never mind. I feel like hyping you up like, girl, that top is cute. Like, hello.
I think I'm more still on the table. I need to work on the dress form, like you said last time, to really get this part, this area more fitted.
I always start with draping. I always start on the dress form. So like you can see some of the style lines here, like these black and red lines. So that represents like what seams I'll have on a garment or a design. So for example, like even this fabric, like I've just draped freehand. I didn't use a pattern for this because it has stretch. So this is very like level 1 mock-up. It's more to see like how the fabric is draping, where I can get the most stretch from it, because it's like sequins on a mesh. But I always jump to the form first. Then I bring to flat to make all to true, like to make sure I'll fit to each other. And I put them on paper, and then I cut into fabric. With my sculptural approach, it's that I always drape first. I always have a foundation, and then you can get into a place of making kind of like 3D shapes, as long as you have like something to work on top of.
I think that's. 我本来是想要把全部都献给 Helen， 可是她说也想要看我的作品，超紧张。所以呢，我们就各选了一些设计，想要来跟大家分享。在这个影片结束的时候，我想要结束在一个高点，所以我们先从我的开始。Brain dump in everything I know, and then this is like crazy. I don't know what I'm doing.
I love this with like the empire waist. I think this neckline is really classic and beautiful. But you've already done it.
Yes.
You're wearing it. So but I think you should start with something that is not like ultra challenging, because you don't want to set yourself up for failure, you know? I think you could very easily manipulate even the pattern of like this bodice that you have on right now. You can change the shape of that. And I feel like your followers would really love to see how you take something existing and bring it to like a total high fashion place. I think your sketches are really beautiful. You have a good eye for proportion and for scale too, because you know, I see where like your hems are falling and like the length of sleeves and the big collars, and it's very charming. And I think that's something like, because you know how to make clothes, it's easier for you to know like what's flattering. But I will say that now that you have these photos on your computer, separate them. Separate what's tailoring, what's more romantic, what's more high fashion. And that way you can almost make like collections of them. And then you pick the strongest one that you feel. Because I don't think you should, and this goes for everyone, don't push yourself to the very hardest, most ambitious. Because if you can't execute something that's more foundational, even with ambition, then you're going to go to that heart and it's going to be like a fail, you know? I think you're in a good place. It's just they feel like they're kind of like disconnected. So maybe just sort them out as feels like similar inspiration or similar vibes. You know, I have this big full neckline and it makes like this keyhole shape.
Right.
Then for the next, I say, okay, I want to do a strapless style and I want to have the keyhole shape, but I still want to have the texture and the gathering here. And I move this shape down to the hips instead.
Oh.
So it's almost like you're making like sisters, not cousins. You have to take a step back and look at your work, you know, because I think a lot of the times we're so like involved with it that we don't give ourselves that design eye opportunity where you step back, okay, or even if you place the pins in the neckline of this dress that you want to adjust, and then when you step back, maybe you won't like how it looks.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, Professor.
Of course, anytime, students. Aspiring fashionista.
Oh my gosh. And then yours, please. Can you tell me more about your designing, drawing, sketching?
Sure. I always start with a croquis. Okay, so that's just like a French term for the figure template.
What's the name again?
Croquis.
Croquis.
Croquis. So I've got front view and then I've got like gesture. So we always start with the croquis. This goes underneath the tracing paper, and then we draw the clothing onto the figure, and then you put back in the face, the arms, the legs, anything that's exposed from there. And then here I have some finished sketches. This is on marker paper. And then here you do all of the rendering of the fabric. So this would be velvet. This would be chiffon with fur. And then depending on like what the inspiration is, I do the styling for hair, makeup, jewelry, based on what the inspiration of the character is. And yeah, so that's just like a little bit reflection for the velvet. And this is all like ruching and pleating here for texture in the bodice. And then from here, I go to the dress form.
Okay. 谢谢老天爷让我认识 Helen， 然后让我有这个机会跟大家分享这样的影片，然后希望以后有更多这样的机会跟大家分享。Go follow!
And I have Patreon
and YouTube channel. Go subscribe.
Yeah, but Olivia's channel is way better than mine, so subscribe to hers.
Or both. Yes. Contact her directly if you want to. And we hope our journey inspire other creatives, whether you're starting from kitchen or home studio or anywhere. Thank you so much again, Helen, for joining me today and share everything, literally, your insights, your journey as a designer. It's a great honor to have you here on my channel. I really appreciate it. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you guys so much for being part of our journey, and I hope you enjoyed watching us talk all about fashion and how if you love it, then follow your dreams, and we're here to support you.
Yay! 谢谢大家收看这一集. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye! And that's a wrap!